Hello everybody, welcome back to a new video. Today we are doing, well, you've probably guessed it by the title of the video and what we've been doing really recently. This time we're doing the AFC North record predictions. And yeah guys, we're going to do these predictions like we've been doing before the NFL season starts. NFL season starts in 6 days, so oh boy, what a heck of a season it's going to be this year. And also, Cowboys, I really want to change that record prediction to 8-9 after what you just did to Micah Parsons. Just saying. But anyways, this isn't about the Cowboys. This is about the AFC North. And the first team we're going to be predicting off this season is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Man, did the Pittsburgh Steelers make a lot of moves. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, speaking of the Cowboys, George Pickens, they traded him to the Cowboys. They also got Aaron Rodgers from the Jets. They got DK Metcalf. So they made a lot of like weird moves this season. So the Steelers, they also had no Najee Harris. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that part of the Steelers. I mean, they didn't really make any major moves. Wait, they did make another major move. They got Jalen Ramsey on that defense. So the Steelers, their defense is just insane. Let's just be fair. We're gonna give this. If I'm giving the Steelers one thing today, their defense is incredible. Like their defense is just gonna be incredible. That's the only thing that's really good for them right now, is that defense. Now, offensively, other than DK, Pat Freiermuth, there's really nothing else there. Those are the only two pieces on that offense that are really going to make any differences, any changes, or anything in general happen on that team this year. And looking at this schedule, they do kind of have a little bit of a schedule. They got the Bears. They got to deal with the Bengals. They got to deal with the Bengals and Ravens twice. They got to play the Lions. Maybe the Dolphins give them problems. Maybe the Chargers give them problems. They got to play the Bills. And they got to play like the Vikings and Seahawks. So they got to play a lot of competition this year. So their schedule is kind of tough. So, and with Aaron Rodgers, I just don't think, I mean, they got Caleb Johnson from Iowa. And he's a good running back. And he's likely going to be the starter with Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren, I think, is pretty mid, honestly. But Caleb Johnson, I do think he will bring some sort of thing to the table. I don't think he's going to be really incredible. But I do think he's going to be, like, alright for his first. I mean, this is his rookie season, so you really can't predict things like that. Plus, other than DK Metcalf, who the heck is Aaron Rodgers going to throw the ball to deep? Because Pat Freiermuth can make so many plays to the point, but they don't have, like, no offense. Like, that's the thing. The Steelers, other than DK Metcalf, their wide receiver 2 is Calvin Austin. It's Calvin Austin. And I think their 3 is like Roman Wilson or something. Someone I don't think caught a ball last year, which I thought he was going to play a big role in the offense, which apparently didn't. So, yeah. And the schedule, not too good on that one. Now, for the floor of the Steelers, I have their floor at 5-12. If everything were to go wrong and their offense was really just pitiful and just terrible, I don't think they will reach 5-12. I would be honestly shocked if they did, but 5-12 is their floor due to their just offense, because there's a chance that, and listen, the reason why I say they have no offense as well is that Aaron Rodgers, he's old as frick. We saw it. I mean, he's shown some flashes against the Jets sometimes, here and there, but he also didn't give the Jets such a good record, and even with Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson, he couldn't even put up good numbers. So, yeah, and he's throwing a lot of interceptions. But that's the floor for the Steelers at 5-12. Their ceiling, I have their ceiling going to 10-7 if everything were to go right. 10-7 seems like a reasonable ceiling just because they've reached that before with Mason Rudolph and a whole bunch of other quarterbacks. So 10-7, and that defense, we gotta admit the defense of the Steelers, really good. It's always been good. It's been good for a couple of years now. In my official record for the Steelers, I have them having a losing record in like a million years at 7-10. Yes, I have the Steelers going 7-10 this year, guys, and I think it's finally gonna happen. Last year, I think I predicted 8-9, and yeah, that didn't go too well. But this year, Aaron Rodgers, that offense is just not. It's not shocking me one bit, guys. That defense is, but that offense, there's no offense. So we're gonna move on to the next team. Oh, next up, you got the Cleveland Browns. Oh man, so that quarterback room for the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, the Browns are in for a rough season due to the fact that they have Joe Flacco. They did get rid of Kenny Pickett, but they also brought in someone else. I don't remember who it was. Oh yeah, they brought in back Tyler Huntley. They've also got Joe Flacco. They got Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, and they still have Deshaun Watson on that roster. So they technically have 5 quarterbacks on that team that could start week 1. Week 1, it was announced that Joe Flacco is going to start, so that's something. But even, I mean, Joe Flacco, he's looked more rusty than before, and he's old, obviously. So and the Browns' offense, to me, like looking at their offense and just their offense. I mean, they did sign Myles Garrett. Their defense, I think their defense will be solid in that. I think their defense can be good. Offensively, too many questions. The quarterback room, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders are fighting for that number 2 spot for for a replacement after Joe Flacco starts. Like, I don't know. The quarterback room for the Browns, it's traumatizing, but they also have like guys like Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku and Quentin. They're gonna have Quinshawn. I think Quinshawn Junkins is still gonna be able to play, but they drafted him too. So their offense is still not shocking me one bit. Other than David Njoku and Jerry Jeudy, that offense is not gonna do nothing. Like, it really isn't. There's gonna be no moving the ball. There's gonna be nothing like that. And yeah, I just think, yeah, it's gonna be pretty rough for the Cleveland Browns this year. The Browns fans, they're probably not. I don't think any Browns fan has said that they're gonna feel it this season. I don't think. Yeah, they definitely haven't. So, and looking at the schedule, oh boy, they got to play the Bengals and Ravens and Steelers twice. They got to play the Niners. They got to play the Dolphins, and they got to play the Lions and Vikings and Bills and Bears. God dang. And the Patriots. Literally every game on the schedule is tough to them. And they got to play the Packers too. So the Browns have a harder schedule than the Steelers. I almost called them the Queelers. That would have aged well. Nah, but the Browns. As a Bengals fan, all I gotta say is I can only say sorry and walk away from that situation, because boy, I'm glad we're not in that situation. Ours is just defense. Theirs, organization, everything. So, yep. The Browns, oh boy, what a long season they have ahead of them. So due to that, I actually had their floor all the way to 1-16. I was thinking about putting it at 0-17. But I really don't think that's ever going to happen again. I don't think we're ever going to get a team that goes 0-17 again. That team of the Browns was just so unbelievably bad. There's no way. There's no way we see another 0-17 season from the Browns. And keep in mind, they got Myles Garrett, and, I don't see them. I could see them. I could see them going 1-16, but I don't see them going 0-17 like they did before. So there's that. But yeah, their floor. I have their floor at 1-16. Their ceiling, however, I have their ceiling at 7-10. Now, for that to happen, would have to be a lot of things. First of all, Joe Flacco would have to be on his A game for the first couple games that he might play in, and whoever quarterback 2 is going to be, either Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. They also have to be a really good quarterback and show that they can be a really good quarterback, just to get 7 wins off the schedule. And right here, if that were to happen, the only wins I can see here is like the Raiders, the Steelers, the Titans, the Jets, and maybe knock off 2 of these tough teams, or maybe like the Dolphins or something like that. That's the only way I could see that happening. And yeah, so their ceiling 7-10. My official record for the Cleveland Browns this year, though, is going to be a whopping 3-14. I can only see them getting like 3 wins, maybe against like the Jets, like I said, the Titans, and like something random. I don't know. Other than that, the Browns are cooked. They're just cooked. I have them going 3-14 this year. I do like that defense though, but that's just they're wasting talent in Cleveland at this point. It's I don't know how Cleveland drug. Cleveland was starting to get better, and then they just drugged themselves right back into a hole. Like it was. I don't know how they did this. And it's a shame. It's really a shame that Cleveland is going back in the same hole. And, yep, the Browns, forever the Browns. Also probably got their first one coming from the Titans. They're going to go 1-5. They're going to go 0-5 to start the season. But yeah, there's my prediction for the Browns. Moving on to the Baltimore Ravens. Oh boy, the Ravens. They signed DeAndre Hopkins, and I think they signed someone on defense. They improved their defense a little bit this year, and they also got D-Hop. So, the Ravens, they really didn't have to fill too many holes, but the defense was literally getting brutalized last year by a lot of teams, and the Ravens really needed to solve problems quickly on that defense. Not saying it was bad, but it was they were starting to get a little rusty on that defense, you know. Ravens fans know it. And watching them do that. Oh, and talk about Lamar. Classic Lamar Jackson choking in the playoffs. A lot of people blame it on the team, but honestly, you got to see his turnovers. His turnovers, big cause. Just a big cause in the playoffs. You know, he had a fumble. He had, an interception. And, yeah, just... I think both of those led to scores, too, from the Bills. So, yeah, Lamar Jackson has been a lot of the problems, but also been getting them to the playoffs. So it's like, Ravens fans, poop. Anyways, yeah. But for the Ravens, though, they still got Derrick Henry. They obviously do have Lamar Jackson. Usually, when he stays healthy, they do really good in the regular season. And looking at this schedule... Oof, very tough. Play the Bengals twice. You gotta play the Lions. You gotta play the Rams. You gotta play the Dolphins. Maybe the Dolphins give them problems. You gotta play the Texans. You gotta play the Chiefs. You gotta play the Bills week 1. You gotta play the Bears, the Vikings. You gotta play the Packers, which have acquired Micah Parsons and stuff like that. And yeah, and usually the Steelers like to fight around with them too. So yeah, for the Ravens though, good old Baltimore. The Ravens though, at their floor, I do have their floor at 9-8. If everything were to go wrong and their offense just completely slowed down, and their defense really let up a lot more points, yeah. So their floor I have around at 9-8. Their ceiling is a different story though, because looking at the schedule, they can also compete with a lot of these teams. It's just, it just comes to the playoffs. It's when I feel like they start to not be able to compete. So, for their ceiling, I have their ceiling going all the way up to 13-4. If everything goes right for the Baltimore Ravens this year. And, yeah, just, they have the pieces. They have the pieces on this team, but it's really up to the Lamar Jackson thing, of his turnovers. A lot of people are not coming to realization that Lamar Jackson has been the reason, like, him and, like, just team mistakes as well have made them miss being able to go to, like, the Super Bowl or last year's championship game, and just stuff like that, and just not being able to get the big ones done. And that's just how it's been for the Ravens. So yeah, that's womp womp. Anyways, like I was saying though, for my official record for the Baltimore Ravens though, I do have them going 11-6 this year due to their defense. Just the defense still questions me a little bit, and I do think Derrick Henry, while is a really freaking good running back, I think he's going to take a little bit of a slower step than he did last year. Last year, I think he had like 17K yards. I think he might get like 13K this year. So I think he's going to take a little bit of a slower step. And also, I think people said that Lamar Jackson had like a little bit of an injury going on in practice. So hopefully that's not significant for the Ravens. Hopefully he can be able to come out week 1. Not too sure, but they're going to get smacked if not. So, yep. For that, I have the Ravens going 11-6. And for the last team in the AFC North, you have my Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals. What the frick was last season? Defense, terrible. And that's the moral of the story. Offense, amazing. Defense, terrible. And it comes to a point where it's like, it's so weird. Because, like, last year was such a weird season. Because, like, our defense would make so many good plays. But then there would be games where we make so many good plays. And then they would just crap the bed the next week. And the defense was just that bad. Now, the Bengals, obviously, signing Jamar Chase to a huge deal. Signing Gesicki to a huge deal. They signed everybody. They got Hendrickson on a 1-year deal. They got Higgins signed. They got Chase signed. They got everybody they needed to get signed. And that's all there is to it. And yeah, and they drafted a lot of defense. They drafted some offensive line. So they didn't really go out to get anybody big. But they also, I think they signed that one guy from Green Bay. But they didn't really go out and get anybody big. They just stayed with the current team they have. They got rid of guys like Sam Hubbard, which actually he retired after they were going to cut him. And then they got rid of like Jermaine Pratt. So the defense, it still worries me, but it's like, I feel like the Bengals defense cannot be as bad as they were last year. We still got to a 9-8 record last year. And that's like the thing. We were 4-8 and we came back to 9-8. So it's like the Bengals, they have it in them. And this offense, judging by the preseason, I don't feel like we're going to have a slow start. That's another reason why we couldn't make the playoffs last year. We started 0-3, guys. 0-3, went 4-8, then we went 9-8. So it's like the Bengals still have that power in them to take down all these teams. It's just like, what's going to show up? Are we going to have another slow start? Is the defense going to be terrible all year? What's going to happen? And that's what the concerns for the Bengals is for me. So, and then looking at this schedule, not really too bad of a schedule, honestly. I really like this schedule because this is a pretty easy schedule for the Bengals, obviously. But the tough teams, we got to play Baltimore twice. They swept us last year by some BS stuff happening. A lot of BS happened against the Baltimore Ravens twice last year. And one of them was both of them was our defense. But also one of them was just a bad play call. We got the Bills. Usually we play the Bills really good. We got the Packers, the Lions, the Broncos, Vikings. Maybe the Cardinals will get problems. But other than that, and then we got the Bears too. So other than that, not really too bad of a schedule, honestly. It's just these big games, like the Lions, the Bills, the Ravens. Gotta highlight those ones. Those are the games we really want to highlight because that's going to determine a lot. So judging by this schedule just being easy, I do have the Bengals floor at 9-8. I could see us going 9-8 again, just because due to the fact that we were 9-8 last year. But it would be really different because I really don't see a slow start happening. Looking at the first 3 games, because the Vikings, even though they're good, it's like the team's good around them. It's just we still don't know what J.J. McCarthy's gonna look like still. So he could be bad. I don't know. No telling there. Jacksonville, we could definitely compete with Jacksonville. We could definitely beat them. And we got the Browns, which the Bengals have had a history with the Browns of just not being able to beat them. But it's starting to seem like we've gotten over that after they gotten significantly worse. So, yeah. I think we are going to have a pretty fast start in. Burrow's been healthy to play in the preseason. So is everybody else. So, yeah, after like an electric preseason and finishing off last season really strong, just missing the playoffs, I have the Bengals ceiling all the way up to 13-4 as well. I could see it just because, it just this whole floor and ceiling thing, it just depends on defense. This is what it really depends on. The defense is gonna depend on everything. The offense, I'm not worried about the offense one bit. I do think Yoshivash and Brown are both gonna have a breakout season, so keep an eye out on for that. But other than that, I really don't see this Bengals defense being any worse than what it was last year. Even if it was bad, I still don't see it as bad as last year. And like I said, if we get to a fast start, hey, the Bengals, they can go places still. And for my official record for the Bengals, I do have them going 12-5. I don't see a slow start here, and I also don't see the defense being as bad as last year. I don't think the defense is really going to be that good. I think the defense maybe at most gets up to mid. I think they'll be probably like under par this year. But the Bengals defense, I have them also winning the North too. I do have the Bengals winning the North, reclaiming it. I know a lot of people were saying Baltimore's going to win it just because, of the defense. But I really don't think defense can be as bad as last year. What we saw last year was historic. We let up 44 points to the Steelers. We lost 44-38 at one point to the Steelers at home. That's how bad our defense was. It cannot be any worse. To a Steelers offense that was just throwing checkdowns, and oh my god, that game was the worst game probably I've experienced, because that was the worst game I've ever watched. I don't care. That might be number one just because of how bad they were just throwing checkdowns, and they have no offensive players. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it was. But yeah, guys, 44 points. Anyways, guys, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys liked and enjoyed it. Holy crap, I was on a yapping session there for the Bengals. But yeah, I have the Bengals winning the North, guys, 12-5. I got the Ravens in second place at 11-6. I got the Steelers in third place at 7-10. And I got the Browns in last place at 3-14. Sorry, Browns. Not sorry. Anyways, guys, that's the end of this video. Hope you guys liked it. If you guys did, make sure you guys show some support. Click that red button below my YouTube tag and subscribe, guys. Just subscribe, show some support if you enjoyed it. That's the end of this video, guys. See y'all in the next one. Peace out.